right, guys, we are live. All right, making sure everything looks good. People are rolling in. Nice to see everyone again. All right. Cool. Well, let's kick it off. Hello and welcome everyone to our 5th live stream for the Empowerment Podium. We're definitely getting up there in numbers. So for those returning, welcome back. And for those of you who are new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you guys are joining us today, and I really hope that you'll stick around. And you can join this community by subscribing to this channel, following us on Instagram and TikTok, and liking us on Facebook. The links to those socials are below. But either way, I hope that you'll come away from this talk just a little bit more knowledgeable and empowered than you were before. So, before we get started, just a little housekeeping. As today's storyteller is telling her story, please feel free to submit any questions that you might have in the chat, and we'll be going through those during our Q&A to follow this story. So, without further ado, I'd like to present today's speaker, Kristy Fitzpatrick. I have only known Kristy for a few months now, but I can honestly say that she is one of the most positive and happy people I have ever met. Her passion for life is contagious, so I'm really hoping that we can catch just a small fraction of her good vibes as she shares some of her secrets to radiating happiness. So with that, I will hand it over to Kristy.
Hi guys, thank you so much, Kay, for having me on here. I'm over the moon excited, as you know. I've been texting you every day about it. But I cannot wait to share a little bit about me and, what I do to radiate happiness and what I do to, the things I do to make myself feel happy. And I hope that, you guys out there streaming in will take something away from it. And I hope you guys resonate with my talk. So, yeah. So to start off, since I was a kid, have always been told, you're a happy kid, you're always positive, you're always happy, you're always smiling, you're super social, you are super optimistic. And to me, growing up, that was just kind of how I was raised. As a kid, we always, watched funny movies, and there was always laughter in the house. And my mom is generally a very happy woman as well. She finds something out of every moment in life to be thankful for and, laugh at. And she laughs at, the good and the bad. And that's how we've kind of overcome a lot of challenges in our life, is just by laughing, staying positive. Nice. But before I go more into the positivity aspect of it, I've been reading up a lot about toxic positivity. And that is not what I'm trying to promote here, because obviously toxic positivity is when people say if you're having a bad day, don't, you can't. And as soon as you tell people no, what do they automatically do? They say, oh, well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to just go to the extreme. And then boom, they're not, working out their feelings. They're not working out their negative emotions. And that's what causes toxic positivity is that, force of positivity when you aren't feeling like it. Mm-hmm. So, the title of this stream is Why Am I So Happy, right? I've been getting asked that since I was a child, since I was out of the womb. People are like, why are you so happy? And a lot of it is with good intention. People always were like, Kristy, you always have a smile on your face. Why are you so happy? And to me, over the years, I've grown with that phrase. And, to start out, I was just always a happy kid. And I think that just happened to be the atmosphere I was raised in, like I said before. Always laughing, always being me and not, caring. And then as I got older, hormones kick in and things start happening and you start caring about what people think. And you're I remember one phase in my life, I used to carry a mirror around with me everywhere because I constantly wanted to check what my skin looked like. I constantly was hyper aware of things. And I mean, that is a point in my life where I realized, oh my God, you know, I'm no longer Kristy. Like, I don't know who I am. And I was like kind of going through a bunch of things. And, you know, growing up as well, being the happy kid, attracted a lot of negative emotions from people. People would be like, you need to, you know, not smile so much. You can't be as happy as you are. Like, do you ever have bad days? Like, people would break me down to the point of tears. Like, I remember in high school specifically, and like, everyone be like, you know, I'd say something positive and people would instantly be like, okay, Kristy's going at it again. You know, like, they could give, you know, two shits. I don't know if I'm supposed to swear on this, so I'm sorry. But
you're good.
But like, you know, going through that and experiencing that was like very tough for me. Because I knew who I was inside. I knew I was a happy person, but it wasn't being taken in correctly on the outside. So, you know, through growing through this phrase, it went from being a good thing to being a bad thing, which I can't believe being so happy or being a happy person is a bad thing. Like, now in our 20s, we're realizing, like, I'm realizing people want happy people around. Yeah. You know? Yeah, totally. If you have friends that are negative, there's so many people saying, like, don't, you know, associate yourself with negativity. Don't, you know, do that. So now it's a good thing. Yeah. So at one point when I, you know, was that kid that was always happy, that people were like, why are you so happy? It ended up being a bad thing, because then I, you know, lost friends, and I learned who my real friends were and things like that. So point made for that story is that behind everyone saying, oh, you're such a happy kid, like, why are you so happy? Why are you so happy? I was actually diagnosed with bipolar disorder my freshman year of high school. And I'm still a very bubbly, happy person. I don't, it takes a lot to get me mad. You know, I don't put up with, you know, bullshit, but it's taken me a long time to learn that. And, you know, bipolar disorder itself has such a connotation behind it. Like, people will be like, oh, you can't decide, like, what cereal to, you know, eat in the morning. Oh, you're so bipolar. It's like, no, that's not the meaning, you know? And unfortunately it runs in my family. So just kind of got lucky there. But, you know, I've known UK for a few months, and you would never have guessed, because I had no idea. You know, exactly. I am like hyper aware of what's going on in my body, in my brain, in my life. I constantly am overanalyzing things, which can be a good and bad thing. Yeah. But I think, you know, one of the big things for me and how I stay so happy and so optimistic about things is I am hyper aware of it. You know, I am actively searching to be a better version of myself internally. So if I'm having bad days, if I'm, you know, having a bad week, sometimes it's bad weeks, you know, like extra weeks. Yeah. And I, you know, I can still feel that feeling and be, you know, feel lonely when I'm alone and like go through those feelings. But the key difference between me doing it and a lot of other people when they have these experiences is they bottle it up and they shove it down inside and they don't talk about it. And they, you know, it ends up building up, and it's like a balloon that gets filled too much and it pops.
I can definitely have had that experience, yes.
Exactly. And I think that, you know, there's a huge movement right now, especially during this pandemic that we're all in, you know, to talk about your feelings, to get them out. If you don't feel comfortable with friends or family talking about it, seeking out therapy. Like, a big 100% recommend therapy. I'm a huge mental health advocate in that regard of talking to a therapist, and different therapists will do different things. My therapist specifically, who I talk to, she lets me rant. I like to rant. That's a Kristy thing, okay? So, she lets me rant about like the past 2 weeks that I haven't seen her, and she just lets me go on, and she analyzes what I'm saying, how I'm saying it, what things I'm noticing, the good things that I'm doing to combat feelings when I'm feeling negative or down. And that is super empowering right then in itself.
Yes.
I instantly leave there feeling refreshed. Now, that being said, I've had therapists before who were horrible, terrible people. Like, they just were the worst. So you really have to, you know, take your time to find the right person. But life is a journey, right?
Yeah.
We're all on a big journey. And, you know, going through these different stages in our life, we have to reflect on them. And, you know, being aware and reflecting on what's going on right now. And this can be in moments of happiness, sadness, you know, times of craziness, like whatever you're going through, if you can look inward, stop, look inward, and say, okay, what am I doing right now? What is, enter your name, doing right now, you know? Like, how are you feeling? What are you doing right now for yourself? Things like that. So, yeah, there's just, you know, going through my life, I've gone through hardships, I've gone through tough times, and, you know, a lot of people wouldn't see that because except for my close friends. My close friends are like my biggest network of supporters, my family specifically. And then my yaya, who, okay, I've told you a lot about.
Love Yaya.
For those of you who are on here, Yaya is grandmother in Greek. Just to show you guys how my Yaya is and how she talks, she wrote me a book of her proverbs. Ooh, it's falling apart. But so it's literally a notebook full of sayings that she says.
That's amazing. Treasure that. That's awesome.
Right? Thank you. I called her earlier today while I was in work, and I was just like, hey, Yaya, like, I'm going to be, you know, on a YouTube live tonight for my friend talking about, you know, my happiness and things. And she was like, I'm so proud of you. And she actually said some things while she was talking to me that I wrote down to tell you guys.
Love it.
So let me pull those out. So she wrote, or she said more like, she was like, when you are going through your day, I want you to say, I am me. I am my own individual person. Yes. So that, her meaning behind that is be yourself. Because no one can take that away from you.
Yeah.
And that is huge. When you have a realization like that in your life and you're like, oh, I can make my decisions. I can make my choices. Like, this is my life.
Yeah.
You know,
I love that.
Don't let anyone control that part of you. And that's going to open up such happiness in your life.
Yeah.
So that was one. And then another one she lives by is no such thing as a coincidence. She doesn't believe in coincidences. She thinks everything happens for a reason.
Okay. And
I believe that as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, I had a really terrible week a few weeks ago. I lost someone important in my life to me. And there was just a bunch of other, like, things that fell into that week. And I was like so fed up with life at that point. And I was like, why is God testing me? Like, why is this happening? And I was with my dad in his truck, and I was screaming, and I was just like, Dad, I just need to vent. Like, I just need to scream.
Do it.
And that helped so much because that
just gotta let
weekend,
it out.
It helps.
Yeah.
And that weekend I had a shift in the energies, and I was like, okay, like, I feel better. I'm ready to explore my life further.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So that's kind of one of those things, like, don't give up. You know, there's no such thing as a coincidence. So just keep going, because you don't know if this hardship is, you know, that you're going through it happened for a reason.
Yeah.
I don't know the reason. I wish I did, because some things are, you know, a really tough to deal with. Yeah. Yeah. But you're gonna get through it eventually, and you'll always see the light at the end of the tunnel. And you know, there's resources out there if people, you know, ever feel that way where you don't feel like there's an end of the, you know, to the tunnel. I felt that way before. You would never know, but I have, and I've overcame it. You know, I've moved forward, and I think it's really about that self-reflection that I was talking about earlier. Yeah. So number 3, and please tell me if I'm like going too long, okay?
No, please.
Okay. So number 3 that Yaya said was, we are being challenged to find the correct road of our life.
Mm-hmm.
So when you experience times of hardship, times of grief, anything like that, it's a challenge for you to find the right path in which your life is supposed to be going on. And that's huge. Like, to think, in times of badness and sadness, because that rhymed, to know that there is a road that you're following, even if you have no idea. Like last week, I had no idea what my path was. I still, this is still a journey I'm on, figuring out what my life is. And I think almost everyone is going through that their whole lives, not just in this pandemic. Like,
till the day you
people
die.
in their 50s, 60s are trying to reinvent themselves and find themselves too. So it's like, it's a never-ending journey. If you can accept it now, you'll be good in the long run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True. Very true.
There's that. And lastly, never let anyone take your spirit. That's kind of similar to the first one. But she said, you have your spirit, you have yourself, you have to own that and be yourself. Own your spirit, right? So, I hope that, my story and some of the things that, I've shared tonight can give people a little bit of sense of direction or purpose, or even just, helping them kind of reflect on things.
Yeah.
So my last thing to say is my takeaways for this conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed what I, talked about and kind of who I am, and, I hope that you can take something away from this. So I have 5 takeaways. If you take just one or even a word from my takeaway, like, I'll be happy.
I'm listening.
So, right? Yeah. So number 1, allow yourself to feel your feelings. Allow yourself to feel it.
Yes.
Because if you don't feel your feelings and you don't work through them, or you'll never get through them, you'll just keep pushing them down. And we're in a time right now where it's not looked down upon to go see, a therapist or to talk about it.
Yeah. Totally.
Because, we're in a time of empowerment. Empowerment Podium, Exactly. So number 2 is laugh as often as you can. For those of you who know me, I laugh all the time. Like, I will laugh at nothing. I'll laugh at a rock. Like, I find something to laugh at in every second of the day. I am a big comedy fan. I love my own comedy. Like, people who know me know I watch my Snapchats and like Instagram videos over and over again, just laughing at myself. You could call that, narcissistic, but it's not. But I think laughter is a huge part because it's a natural medicine. It helps you feel better.
100%.
Right? So number 3, do things for you in life. So not in a selfish way, but do things for you that are going to advance you on your journey. If you know, or if you see your direction and your purpose in life, do the things that you want to do. And make sure that you're doing it fully with your authentic self. Because if you aren't doing things for you, you'll never be personally happy. And in order to provide happiness for others, you have to be happy on the inside as well.
Love that.
Thank you. And then number 4, don't read into or care about what other people think of you. So you'll never be everyone's cup of tea. I've been told this since I was a kid. You'll never be everyone's favorite. You'll never be I was not a popular girl in school. Like, I don't care to be that, because guess what? Those girls aren't doing anything with their lives right now. And I'm on, a YouTube Live. So, like, there are things in life where, we have these moments where people, will say things to us mean. And there are things that you should listen to, of course, when people say, certain things and give you criticism and stuff and critique you, like, cool. But if you see something that's super hurtful or hateful, block it out.
100%.
Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Get rid of that. You don't want that. Don't read into what people say, because if you do, you'll just go down a rabbit hole of unhappiness, and who wants that?
Yes.
So there's that. And then lastly, be your authentic self.
Yes.
Be who you are. I am genuinely a happy person. This is who I am inside and out. And I own it. I love it. This is who I am. And, I don't wear makeup every day. I did it for this. But, if you want to, if you want to be a mean person and, that's who you are, be that authentically. That's you. Cool. I probably wouldn't be friends with you, but that's okay. You know what I mean? Be yourself. Be who you are. Be true to yourself, and really show that, and you'll attract your people in your life who also experience that and who feed off your energy. So to that, I say thank you guys. And if anyone put questions in, Kay, I am ready whenever you are.
Amazing. Well, I love that. No compromises. Be yourself. All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Clearly you continue to live up to your title as the happiest, most positive person I've met. So I've definitely learned a lot about how to maintain, a positive mindset in order to live a happier life. So I'm definitely taking something away from this, and I'm not the only one, because you've been getting a little fan mail in the chat feature as we're going through.
Yay!
Yeah. So people are saying, she's an inspiration. Please, people don't like to see others happy because they are miserable, and bravo. So you've got some fans in the chat. So it's very true. I agree with that sentiment. So
as soon as somebody if they're feeling down and they see someone that is super positive and super happy, they'll instantly try to cut you down, because they're like, oh, I'm not as happy as her. She can't be as happy as me. And over the years, I've learned more people are looking to get out of that mindset and be more happy or be happier. So, that's a very true statement. So thank you, everyone, for, the fan mail and everything.
I think that actually perfectly segues into one of the questions that we have. You mentioned that people would always ask you, why are you so happy? And it was in a negative way, that people would, bully you and try to tear you down just because you were so happy. And I think we were just kind of touching on, I'm sure that a lot of that comes from people's insecurities and jealousy and, different places like that. But it obviously, that knowing that doesn't make it any less harmful or demoralizing or anything like that. So I'm just kind of curious how you responded to that bullying and still managed to shine through, as your true authentic self.
I think a lot of the ways that I got through it when I was in high school was I avoided it. So I would let it happen, and if I could go back and do it differently, I would have stood up for myself.
Yeah.
And I did that in my senior year. I was able to kind of do that, and I found out who my friends were, and I had to go back to making the friends that I knew were the ones that I wanted in my life, that I had let go because of other toxic friends or something like that. And I'm very fortunate for the people who have stuck around in my life through that experience, and who, don't view me as that, because everyone makes mistakes. Everybody has those days.
Hannah Montana,
I think, getting through that then was a challenge. And it was about, for me, it was just kind of making sure I kept my head on straight, and I was still on my path. And now looking back, I wish I had, stood up for myself earlier. Yeah. But I didn't know, and I wasn't as, aware of things back then. And now I am more aware. So
nice. Yeah. Love that.
Yeah.
Especially the Hannah Montana reference.
Thank you. I couldn't have said it with a straight face. I was just like, no, it's going for
I got you. All right, cool. So I think that you kind of started to touch on this at certain points throughout your talk, but you're definitely right that, it's not always sunshine and rainbows. There's obviously going to be those bad days, those difficult times, those difficult weeks, as you said, how have you been able to, acknowledge when you're feeling down, and when you do you try to turn it around? Do you allow yourself to feel those feelings for a little bit? Like, how do you kind of cope with those, down times?
So at the beginning of the pandemic specifically, I would just kind of allow myself to feel like that. And then eventually, I always do, like I said, I allow myself to feel my feelings and acknowledge them. But I've really realized throughout it, the best thing to do is to call up your friend or your family member. I call up my mom, my sister, my yaya, my cousin, Morgan, who's on this chat right now. She wanted me to shout her out eventually. So love her. But, call your friends, your families. I have a few of my friends that know what I deal with and struggle with on a daily basis. And I'm constantly reaching out to them daily to check on them, to see how they're doing. And they do the same to me. So that, when you're feeling, down, it's different for everyone. For me personally, I find myself, sometimes I do just want to be alone and listening to my music, and, music helps me a lot. Yeah. So I'll listen to my music. If I want to cry, I let myself cry, and then I get back up and laugh and am happy again. Like, it's kind of just the ups and downs of life. Yeah. And so that's the basic way of how I let myself feel it. But sometimes it's helpful to have an aid in that situation to either tell you that it's okay to feel what you're feeling, or B, help you talk through it and get through it.
Nice. So yeah. But at the end of the day, you're feeling what you're feeling for a reason. So
exactly,
gotta acknowledge it. I like that.
Thank you.
All right, cool. So you taught me a couple new terms today. So I really love those concepts of, toxic positivity that you mentioned in the beginning, and the idea of neutral thinking. And so I learned a lot about those. So how did you learn about those concepts? And do you have any other resources that you'd recommend for people who are looking to, dig deeper into mindsets and happiness in general?
Yeah. So I think I should have touched a little bit deeper on the neutral mindset, which I will touch on that right now. So thinking neutral. So in my work within therapy and stuff, I have talked to my therapist, and she's like, I feel like you always feel like you have to be positive. The toxic positivity. I felt like I always had to stay positive. And if I wasn't positive, I was negative. And she goes, no, Kristy, she's like, it's okay to be neutral. She's like, be neutral. If that, neutral is going to look different for everybody. For you, it's going to be calm. It's going to be happy. That's your neutral mindset. So what others think of as, like, I will have times of excitement where I am super positive. Yeah, of course. But most of the time, my happy spirit is in my neutral mindset. So that really is something I learned from therapy, and her, telling me that, because a lot of times I'll think I have to be one extreme or the other. And in actuality, you just have to be that neutral, space for you. Yeah. And then toxic positivity, that's something recently I've been hearing about, because a lot of people are in MLMs, mid-level marketing companies, like, I probably shouldn't name a few of them, but those are the girls that reach out to you on Instagram saying, hey, we haven't talked in a while, but like, your page is looking beautiful. You're looking great. Would you be interested in my product? Yeah. That right there is like, you haven't talked to that girl in years. Yeah. Years. But that's what they're teaching them. So like, don't hate on that girl for that, but like, that is what they're teaching, is toxic positivity. And being aware of that is actually what's going to help combat toxic positivity. Yes. So that's like the moments where people, instead of feeling sad and feeling down, they're like, you have to be positive. Like, you have to be, smiling. Like, that's the only thing that's going to get you through it. No, feel your feelings, because you getting through those emotions are what's going to make you feel good.
Right. I love that. Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool concepts. I liked learning a little bit more about those.
Of course.
People are also resonating with this too. You know, they're saying this too shall pass, ride the wave of life, like all these similar concepts. I love all this positivity happening right now.
It's really influential words.
Mm-hmm.
Wording is huge. It's such a powerful thing. I have quotes all over my room.
Yeah,
like,
love it.
I'm a quote girl.
I'm a quote girl too.
Definitely.
All right, cool. So we have one more, if you're game, for one more question.
I'm game.
Cool. All right. So,
ready for it.
So when it comes to bipolar disorder, I know that's one of those, invisible mental illnesses that you will not always see in people when you first meet them, or, even after you've known them for a long time. I mean, for example, I had no idea that was something that you dealt with on a daily basis. So do you have any advice for people who are also struggling, with similar mental health difficulties, and how do you balance those internal struggles with your outward self?
So bipolar is definitely a spectrum, and there's different types. There's like type 1 and type 2. Okay. I don't really remember which one I am, but there are extreme, people with bipolar who go into like blackout rages and they'll do crazy things, and like that can happen if you're not medicated or not, it's a chemical imbalance in the brain. Yeah. So growing up, I was in therapy at first the psychiatrist said, "Oh, you have anxiety." Now, my anxiety was I could not get off the school bus if I saw that my parents' cars weren't home. So it was intense though. Like I mean, this was before cell phones. Like I would have panic attacks. I couldn't stay home alone until I was in like high school, which is actually kind of embarrassing to say, but but that was my anxiety level. Now, so I was treated for anxiety first. And then it was, I would have a short fuse with my family. So, we're very close knit family. My dad has bipolar disorder, and me and him, I fight right back, we butt heads, and I butt heads with my mom, and I butt heads with my sister, and my fuse would be really short though. It would take nothing to set me off. And so that's when we would tell the therapist, the psychiatrist, hey, this is what's happening. They're like, oh, you need a mood stabilizer. And then they were, through the years and with hormones kicking in, I got depression. And I was like, okay, what's wrong with me? Is something wrong with me? And the moral to that is there's nothing wrong with this, because as you know, most people have anxiety and depression. It's how you treat it yourself. Some people don't need medicine. That's great. I wish I was one of those people. I personally need my medicine to keep me level, and that's just personally how I feel, And so the therapy resources are what's going to help you if you have an open mind. The key to success when it comes to mental health is being open, for it. Yeah. If somebody is forced into mental health services or into a situation, they will often deny it, they won't accept it, and then they will fight it their whole lives.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So creating that openness for you or someone who might be fighting invisible battle, that is really important. Talking about it. But really creating that, that atmosphere of you're not alone, and then you're also not, it's not a bad thing to feel like this. Yes. I feel like a lot of people, I think what happened is for so many years, it was looked down upon to have anxiety, have depression, have different disorders and things like that people didn't talk about it. And so as soon as people started realizing these things and started seeing, therapist stuff, they started coming out saying, oh, I've got depression, I have anxiety, I have depression, I have anxiety. And so everyone was like, well, why do all these people have it? And it's like, because we've had it our whole time. Like, we're just now talking about it. It's just, social media is getting it out there, So everyone's living with something. We all go through hard stuff. And I think you have to be personally aware of accepting it and doing what it takes to help you personally. And for other people, you can, be that open space for them if they need help as well.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
End of the day, therapy is a good thing. There's no stigma.
End of the day,
it's great.
yes, therapy is a good thing. If anybody watching this ever feels like they need to talk to someone, but they don't know who to talk to, or don't feel comfortable going to their personal friends or family, like, you can always reach out to me, the official Kristy on Instagram, because I have, my DMs are always open for anybody, because as I like to say, like, if I ever was feeling alone, I think one time I had, like, DM'd Demi Lovato, honestly. Like, I was, like, feeling down, and I, like, DM'd her. She never answered, because, like, she got probably 1,000 DMs.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm not famous yet, so I'm open to helping you figure out, your path, and then, just being an ear to, lend. So
nice. Kristy Therapy officially open for business.
And I'm not a certified therapist, so nobody, say that I am, because I'm definitely not.
Major disclaimers, but yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
I think that is all the questions that we have for today. So I just want to thank you again for sharing your story, sharing your tips, your tricks, all this advice has been super, super helpful. And I mean, I'm taking some of those away, and I'm going to try to spread some more happiness in the world and some more yeah-isms.
Yes.
And, all that good stuff. So honestly, thank you so much again. And, keep being your most authentic self and doing what you're doing, because it's amazing.
Thank you so much, Kay, for having me. Thank you for everyone who tuned in live and who are watching this now. I really appreciate it, and I hope that this was able to resonate with some people. So thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, and before everyone goes, just a couple quick shout outs. If you'd like to share your story, please let me know and email me at empowermentpodium@gmail.com or message us on any of our social accounts. We have an Instagram, a Facebook, and a TikTok account, all of which you can find by searching at Empowerment Podium or at the links in the description below. So give us a follow there to stay up to date on when we'll be going live next, and to see some of our replays of our stories from stories past. If you like this stream, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. You can also hit that notification bell down there to receive notifications every time we post a new live stream or a new video. And I just want to thank you all again for tuning in. This has been such a great conversation, and I hope that you guys will stick around for some more stories in the future. And thanks again to Kristy.